Hi, everybody. That's me. I've been in love with learning martial arts since I was 10 years old. That photo was in the local paper at Christmas time because I'd asked Santa for a set of dumbbells, as every little girl does. My mum had given me a sticker that said, "Girls can do anything," and I took it as gospel. I wanted to be a black belt when I grew up more than I wanted to breathe. So I was right into it. I trained really hard for a long time, and eventually I made my dream become a reality. I thought I knew by the age of 19 how to defend myself. I even might have thought I was a little bit tough. I found out that wasn't the case one night when I was working security alone at a bar. I got into a fight with a drunk couple that I clearly did not win. The guy jumped me from behind and he eye gouged me, sticking his thumb, yeah, it hurt, right behind my eye, and he tried to rip it out. It's still there. These are my real eyes, I promise. But that fight taught me something so important, that I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I did. My self-image was based around it. But in reality, I didn't understand how confronting fighting could be. I had two choices at that point. Either let my fear make me turn inward and try to make myself believe that who I used to think I was, or I had to face my fear and go and find somebody to teach me to defend myself. It was a real Karate Kid, Daniel-san, kind of wax on, wax off moment. But I sought and eventually found my Mr. Miyagi in my sensei, my teacher, a man named Benny the Jet Yukides. He's an undefeated world champion kickboxer and a renowned martial arts master. And he looks scary in that photo. The thing that I loved about him though, and still do, is that in addition to teaching all of the physical skills, he very uniquely also taught internal training, which meant that he trained my mind and also my heart. Now, anybody can teach you to kick and punch, but hopefully not like that. But the lessons that he taught me about how to live a better life have really affected me. When I was in my early 20s, I used to save up all my money and I would go over to Los Angeles to train with him. I was pretty broke, so I slept in the gym and I ate cans of tuna from the dollar store just to survive. That stuff's disgusting and I still can't eat it now. I ate so much of it. But I used that opportunity and I seized it with both hands. I used to write down every single thing that he said. See, a lot of people confuse competitive fighters with violent people. That wasn't the case for me. I fought because I wanted to confront a deeper truth about who I was. See, in the ring, you can't hide. You can't hide from your opponent, and you can't hide from yourself, your true self. When there's a real threat in front of you, you can react any which way. You might find out the real extent of your courage or how you deal with fear. Sensei Benny loved teaching me lessons about fear and courage. When I was about 24, he put me in the ring with his best champion fighter. This guy was really, really good, and I was really, really scared. This day was different because he was also mocking me while we were sparring. He'd stick out his chin and wait for me to hit it, then he'd make me miss and he'd pop me. And then he was laughing at me while he did it. I wasn't very happy about that. It made me really upset. I got really angry, and all I could hear from the corner was Sensei Benny saying, "Change your thinking." He said, "Change your thinking." I had no idea what he was talking about. This guy was trying to kill me and I was crying, but he wouldn't let me out of the ring. When it was finally all over, I went on an angry rant about my opponent's bad behavior and how his bad attitude had affected my performance. Sensei Benny just looked at me and said, "Is that all it takes to break you?" I felt about this big. I felt like a silly little girl. I'd let somebody laughing at me completely throw me off, ruin me. I was even more upset though when Sensei Benny told me that he'd asked my opponent to do that to me deliberately. He's not a nice man sometimes. But what he was trying to teach me stayed with me, and that was that the only thing that you can ever control in response to a hard situation is your reaction, your thinking. Now, I've used that in my own fights a number of times. Sometimes you get knocked down, things go wrong. You have a choice when you get there. Either you stay down and break mentally, or you can stand up and redeem yourself. Yay! Thanks. Luckily, that worked out okay. But my hard lessons weren't over there. Sensei Benny also put me in the ring one day at training with a young guy who was mentally challenged. Now, he was physically capable and very strong, but my instinct was to take care of him. I spend every day nurturing my students, so my gut reaction was to look after him and not hit him too hard. In between rounds, Sensei Benny called me over and he said, "Shame on you." And I cried again. Happens every time. But what he was trying to say to me, and he made it very clear, was that my opponent loved his training just like I did, that he had every right to be there. It was his opportunity to be brave, and I was taking that away from him. I had good intentions though. Just like all the guys who'd taken it easy on me in training, even though they were less experienced, because I was a woman. See, the thing is, in order for somebody to be strong, you have to let them be. You have to give them that opportunity. I've been teaching martial arts and training people in Sydney gyms for 20 years. People often come to me because they're having a fight within themselves. They come to me to help them win a weight loss battle or to answer some really important questions. What would I do if I had to fight? Who am I? What am I made of? Now, a lot of these people don't look like stereotypical fighters. They're not big, tough guys with tattoos on their faces that ride big motorbikes. As a little blonde girl with a university degree who usually wears glasses, I definitely did not fit that stereotype. But perception can be a really tricky thing. See, on the outside, I came to look like this undefeated champion kickboxing, Thai boxing person. My surname really is Champion, by the way. I didn't change it, I promise. People always think that. Anyway, that's how I felt on the outside. But it took me a really long time to come to terms with who I was on the inside. To me, that looked a whole lot more like this. But you know what I got from my training? I got the courage to walk around being that girl in my everyday life instead of the other one. Because that one was safer than this one. But this one's way more fun. What I had in common, though, with other fighters, apart from riding ponies in Toys R Us, we have Friday night activities, we all go do it. What I had in common with them, though, was a desire to know myself on a deeper level. I wanted to find out what I was made of for real. I fought because it taught me the unequivocal truth. When you're in the ring, when you're trying to face your fear, it's unavoidable. But first you have to get into the ring. When you're warming up in the dressing room before a fight, all you can smell is scared sweat and adrenaline and nerves. Your mind can be your worst enemy. Before you get out there and face your opponent becomes you. You have to learn to control your emotions under pressure. It's like going for the biggest, scariest job interview in the entire world where you really want to get it, but there's a chance that you might get killed when you go there. It's awkward. You have to learn to turn the volume down on emotions like fear and doubt because it's too late for those, just like I just did out there. Okay? And you've got to turn the volume up on your strength and your confidence. I used to do that by listening to fight music, and it would make me feel something. I'd connect to those emotions of like feeling strong and feeling good, excited. But I also had a secret weapon when I walked out to the ring. Sensei Benny had taught me that in order to feel brave, when you need to feel that, all it takes is 10 seconds of courage to walk out to the ring and face your opponent. When you look them in the eye, you know exactly who you are. There's no room for pretending that you're tough if you're not. See, people's truths get exposed in fights. You have to face the battle head on. You can't run away. You have to do whatever it takes to survive. Yeah, that stuff hurts. See, the thing is, someone laughed. The thing is, when you're getting punched in the face, whether it's in the ring in a fight or metaphorically by your life, it doesn't hurt any less if you close your eyes. In fact, if you turn away from that pain, usually the impact is worse. You're far better off taking it on the chin, at least then you can defend. You see, some shots are unavoidable, but it's how we take those shots that matters. When I teach men and women to fight, their instincts tell them to turn away from pain. Usually in life, this is a very good thing. But what about those situations when you can't turn away? You have to learn to fight for yourself. You have to learn to face your pain. In this photo, I had fought so hard, I'd snapped one of my fingers. Sensei Benny was trying to get my glove off, and I was clearly not happy about it. But in that fight, I got the opportunity to deal with my pain and fight through it. Luckily, it was worth it in the end. See, it's the things that we don't face, like pain and fear. They control us, they weaken us from the inside out. But pain and fear also provide an opportunity. See, sometimes when you're your most afraid, you might just become your most strong. I know this because 1 year ago, I finished cancer treatment. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma that required 6 months of chemo and radiation. Chemo makes you pretty sick, so as the months wore on, I got really over it. It was harder and harder for me to show up for another round. But I had no choice. I used to put on my fight music just to feel strong enough to go to the hospital. I'd walk down the hallway like I was walking to the ring for a fight. They thought I was a bit weird. By the time the last treatment rolled around, I was worn down physically and emotionally. When they went to get a vein and they couldn't, because the chemo chemicals had burnt them and made them collapse, something in me collapsed as well. I broke. I got up and walked outside. I crumpled in a ball in the hallway, and I cried my eyes out. I stayed there for a really long time, looking for a way out. But I heard Sensei Benny's voice in the back of my head saying, "Change your thinking. This won't hurt any less if you close your eyes." So I used my 10 seconds of courage, and I got up and walked back in the room to finish my treatment. See, if my training has taught me anything, it's not the whole event that requires courage, but usually the very first part. It's just getting over that initial scary bit of the big hard thing that you've got to do. If you can do that, then you've started. But starting can seem impossible when you have to do something that really scares you. We know those things because they make us feel sick. You might have had that moment in your life, using 10 seconds of courage to tell your kids that you're getting a divorce, to tell a loved one a hard truth that you don't think you can say out loud, to come out to your family, or maybe to show the doctor a lump that you found. See, I think all of these things require true bravery. I've failed to be brave at important moments in my life, but I think the key is to try to keep learning from it. I've never been more grateful for the lessons I learned in the ring than that last day of chemo. See, sometimes the strongest moment of your life won't happen in front of a crowd, and there won't be a shiny title belt waiting for you at the end. It might just happen quietly inside you. But none of these lessons mean a damn thing unless you're prepared to live them. So I'm going to try to live my lessons one more time in front of you today. Awesome. Wait, we haven't done it yet, don't clap. See, in martial arts, we break wooden boards as a test of our skill, of our self-belief and our strength. The scary part for me is that I haven't even tried to do this since before I had cancer. It's been years. I'm genuinely scared. I haven't rehearsed it. I don't know if I can do it. I'm scared I'm going to fail in front of all of you. But what if I don't? If I do fail, I hope that at least a couple of you will have the generosity to respect me for trying. As you two. But if I succeed, now this is about you guys. If I succeed, I'm going to ask you to take a moment and think, is there something in your life, a fear big or small, where you could use 10 seconds of courage to start? I challenge you to face it. Whatever your fight is, I really hope that you can win it. one more thing. If you're in this with me, if you're willing this to work for me, and I really hope you are, I'm going to ask you to aim your 10 seconds of courage at me while I try to be brave. So if you're with me, can you hold your hands straight up? And just leave it there while I try. Yeah, hold it.